All right, with the Cowl seals in the rear view mirror, happy about that. It required me taking this on and off multiple times, and I found myself grabbing it from the other side on this inlet. And I kind of felt that the carbon fiber at this point is a little bit weaker, and I also noticed like the edge was kind of deteriorating just from me grabbing it, and so I want to put a little reinforcement on there. So I measured it. This is like 50 thousandths and thicker. This is also quite beefy, especially in the corners where there's extra resin. Up here is like 30 thousandths. So I asked my friend Fernando, because I thought he had some extra carbon fiber cloth, for a tiny piece, and he brought me a tiny piece. Out of that tiny piece, I cut this, like 6.5 inches up top, 6 inches at the bottom. And the plan is to basically just mix up some resin and, sand this, mix up some resin and put that on there. I don't want to add any unnecessary weight or structure to it, but I just felt that this was a little bit thin and could benefit from a little reinforcement, especially over the years taking a cowl on and off. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right, one little reinforcement layer. Once that cures, trim the edges off, call it a day. Take my little heater. Alright, that came out nice. I just added a little piece on top of here, sanded it off, cleaned up the edges, and yeah, it actually makes a big difference. Not much, but that's a big difference. The camera looks like I added this whole piece on here, but I didn't. This is kind of like the patchwork from when they do the cowl. Literally like 1 inch times 6 inches on top of that, and real happy with how that came out. So one more thing checked off. One thought that crossed my mind after I put these cowl ramps in, thought I did a pretty good job of sealing them in there, but then I had visions of being up in the flight levels and having those things be airtight and blow the top of the cowl off. So I put a couple of relief holes, like the ones you see in the window on a commercial airliner, so that will equalize the pressure. Totally joking, but maybe it'll be a drain hole in case moisture gets in there. All right, got this all back on. Glad to report everything fits good. And I did forget, I put the spinner and all that back on, but I forgot the alternator belt. No big deal, obviously. We got a ways to go. And also forgot to put the little airbox cover on. That's tucked in there. But I do think as far as building, there's nothing else I can do up front until we get the panel. And the biggest hang up has been the cables, because they got to go through the panel before you can go in there. They're basically installed. Everything needs to come out and then go back in. So hopefully that'll be soon. I can't think of anything else up here. I have my list. I checked off a half a dozen things, and the next step to do that I can do here before we go bring it up to the hangar is mount the carbon fiber, the Aerosports carbon fiber wing fairing or a vertical stab fairing, and a bunch of closeouts here. George did this originally, so I have to familiarize myself with that, but I think those plastic closeouts can go on. They're here, that can go on, and basically some tail work. So finally a change of scenery. I'll be good, looking forward to it. All right, but for now, good night. I just remembered that you forgot to remind me that I forgot to show you the smoke oil tank in the last video. So I did that 2 videos ago, but basically put all that together, put the hardware on the side. Everything's just hand tight right now, but that came out awesome. So that's the supply line for the oil. Pump is in there, little filler is there. There's a little cut in there to access a vent. And this is the second outlet that, in case we do aerobatics, you need one tube that goes that way, but I don't think that'll happen. This is my cool little box that, I don't know if I can do it one-handed, but holy crap. Hey, hold on. Yeah, let me try it with two hands. So you fold that side in, fold that side in, and this whole thing comes out and kind of just locks into place there, and the shape of it keeps it from moving. And then you can take this bolt out, that bolt out, and the tank slides out. So I thought it was a pretty cool design, lightweight, usable. There's a little lip on the bottom, so in case you do spill fluids, they don't actually go. Oh, it's been a while. I forget how it goes in now. There you go. There you go, nice and solid. In case you spill fluids, they don't go everywhere. Like this will house a quart of oil, paper towels, couple of beers, whatever you want. All right, now good night. All right, I didn't find any instructions on this, so I just looked at some of the pictures, but this is the panel underneath where the tail wheel cable controls come out, and looks like people mounted it here, drill a hole, put a couple more nut plates, call it a day. And I look at the dimples that came out of the thermal mold, and they're 1 3/4 apart. But if you look at this, they're actually a little bit further apart. So kind of measured it. It's not quite 1 7/8, but closer to that than 1 3/4. So I'm gonna drill these on the outside and then just match the other ones up to that. Alright, so I got those marked on here, and what I did is, I did this for the belly fairings too. I put a piece of 1/16 in there, just double-sided taped it in there, and basically allows me to sand it until I get a perfect 1/16 all the way around. Then in the front half, or the back half, I actually put a second piece of a 1/16. I don't know if it'll work or not, but it makes this lip just a tad bit taller to compensate for that little bend when it sits in there, just so there's no tension on it. And I'll probably put some spacers on the inside like I did there too, so when you tighten the screws there won't be any unnecessary stress on the plastic. So far so good. Alright, so there, I don't know if you can see the little lip, and that gives me a nice, even, whatever, hopefully it'll fit good. Funny, this one here is about twice as solid as this one. I think they came out of different batches. This one's like almost 1/8 of an inch thick, and you can feel it took much longer to sand, much stiffer. This one's like less than a 1/16 inch thick. It's much more flimsy. This is the lightweight version, but they look the same, so that's all that matters. Oh, actually now you can see this one definitely looks thicker. Oh well, nobody will know. Hey, I got these ready. I opened these up so the screws can fit into this, and now the plan is to basically mount these in, get the wire cables through, Cleco them, mark these holes. So time to fiddle with the tail. drilled those holes, and maybe hard to see, but you see that that inner one, it comes very close to that brace for the whatever tail wheel spring mount. So if you put the, it doesn't fit this way because it hits the, you know, it doesn't fit the long way, and if you go sideways, it hits too. So basically I'm glad I checked before I drilled the rivet holes. But underneath here, I basically just made a little jig that's like 22.5 degrees, and I use that to bring them all at the same angle. Yeah, just watch out. I'm not sure if normally these are supposed to be back further, but this is where they ended up here, so I just gotta angle those, no big deal. Alright, so I made a bunch of spacers, some of them out of 16th inch ABS and some out of 1/8 inch ABS, and where it's thicker, like here, I'm going to use the 1/8 inch ABS. I punched them out with a hole punch, then marked the middle, drilled them with a number 11, and now I'm just going to glue them in with some CA glue. Some of them need a little bit of work on the side just to get them over. These are 5/8. And basically I'm into consistency, so this is what I did on the belly fairing, so I just want the same size. Okie dokie, got them all glued on. The thicker ones at this end, and steps down to this end. And again, the reason for that is so when you tighten a screw on it, it doesn't put any tension. Like, it'll tighten the screw onto whatever, you know, is in the way. So it's not putting any tension on the plastic, and hopefully get a couple extra years before it cracks. All right, let's put them on. That sums up the tail wheel cable control fairing outlet part of it. My intentions were good with stepping this to sit flush, but then I have the little rivet heads poking out here, so I have to do a little bit of a adjustment there. But overall, came out good, and I think next I'm gonna probably tighten the vertical stabilizer and maybe secure this thing, and then take all that out, and then continue on the back part here. In case the video is long, I'll say good night and goodbye. Thank you for watching, and if not, I'll film more.